To protect our democracies, we have to fight against the ever-growing virus of fake news.
And we're living in a fake news era, as you know. Everybody knows this.
This is fake news.
Fake news.
I'm here this evening to cut through the fake news filter.
Fake news.
Fake news. Fake news.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
America's interest in the term fake news skyrocketed around the time of the 2016 presidential election due to its mass proliferation by not only the Russian government, intending to upend the election through cyber attacks and social media, but also through hoax sites and right-wing publishers. By the time of the election, fake news outperformed authentic news outlets on Facebook. Between August 2016 and Election Day, the top 20 inaccurate election stories generated 8.7 million shares, reactions, and comments, while the top 20 legitimate stories generated only 7.3 million engagements. Of the fake news stories, most were blatantly pro-Donald Trump and anti-Hillary Clinton. The most popular of these articles claimed that Pope Francis personally endorsed Trump and that Clinton reportedly sold weapons to ISIS, both of which were proven false. On the other hand, mainstream news outlets, including the Washington Post and New York Times, predominantly favored Hillary Clinton, illustrating the clear disparity between false and legitimate stories. Furthermore, Facebook's essential role in propagating these fake news stories illustrates the dangers of unregulated social media platforms. According to data from the Pew Research Center, 40% of American adults feel very confident about their ability to recognize made-up news, and 43% feel somewhat confident. Only about 17% stated that they do not feel confident. That means a whopping majority of American adults trust their ability to expertly navigate the internet. However, a study conducted by Stanford researchers found that even technologically savvy teenagers were easily duped by misinformation on the internet. We wanted to see this process for ourselves, so we contacted a person with first-hand experience. In the early weeks of 2019, sometime in January, an account called World Record Egg posted a simple image of an egg and asked people to like it and make it the most liked picture on Instagram, hoping to beat a previous post by Kylie Jenner. It generated a lot of attention and eventually did become the most liked picture on Instagram. The owner of the account was anonymous, but Alyssa decided to do a little experiment to see if she could convince others that she was the real owner.
I go to Plano Senior High School. I'm a junior and I'm 16. It was a Sunday night. I had completed all my homework for all of my classes and I had some spare time on my hands. So I edited it to look like I had my main profile, which was like Alyssa Yao, and then my other accounts, and then I added the egg account username to the tab. And then I had two fake screenshots. I had another one where it was the profile of the egg account, but from the owner's perspective, meaning that there was the edit profile button at the top, and then yeah, that's basically the only difference between like actually viewing the account from an outside profile and actually like owning the account. When I went to school the next day, a lot of my friends asked me whether it was real or not. And a lot of people were skeptical, but a lot of people just flat out believed me and spread this information as well. A lot of people would like repost my story and then tag me and tell people that I was the owner without verification whatsoever.
Soon afterwards, Newsweek published an article claiming that they had identified the owner of the egg account.
My story gained lots and lots of views over just a couple hours. You know, it reached like over 5,000 by the end of it, and if I had not decided to publicly announce that it was fake, then it probably would have became more viral, because I did not even plan for Newsweek to publish an article on this subject at all.
Alyssa's story spread very quickly in social media circles and around the world. If left unchecked, the story could have had serious implications. We decided to learn more about the behavior of fake news dissemination.
I'm an assistant professor of politics and public affairs at Princeton University, and I do research focusing on social media, persuasion, and people's exposure to media and what the effects of that are. So recently I've been interested in misinformation, its spread through social media, and how people encounter it online.
One reason why fake news spread so quickly on the internet is due to the phenomena of echo chambers.
Popular definition of echo chamber would be something like a group of people who only encounter news and information from sources that present it in a way that is congenial to their pre-existing attitudes and beliefs. So people are exclusively or almost exclusively consuming information from sources that they are inclined to agree with.
In this case, the school served as an echo chamber for Alyssa's story to diffuse rapidly.
So, the nice thing about, just starting with Twitter, the nice thing about Twitter is that you can scrape the follow networks of accounts. So if you have a set of people or users on Twitter, you can actually back out the content that they could potentially be exposed to, as well as the content that they're sharing to others. So you can sort of construct a picture of people's information environments, and in various ways you can sort of characterize say the ideological slant or whatever other features you're interested in of the sources that people are following or not following on Twitter. So you can sort of proceed from there. It does seem like targeting was happening along at least two dimensions. So one was ideological affiliation. So we know that consumption and sharing of fake news, at least a couple of years ago, was concentrated among people who were much more conservative. And that could just be because the supply of kind of anti-Clinton or pro-Trump fake news was much greater. And so that would be driving that effect, or there might have been some explicit targeting going on. And the other dimension would be age. And even aside from ideology, we're sort of seeing this pattern come up again and again, that people who are older, especially over 65, were more likely to encounter fake or dubious articles online and to share them with their friends and connections. And, there's been evidence that fake news was being disseminated on Twitter as well. But I think just the significance of that finding is just that Facebook seems to just dominate the others. I think there's always more that we wish they could do. Just having studied this from the outside, I appreciate the difficulty of this issue. It's difficult to work through, all of the sorts of First Amendment type issues and being able to have a reliable way of determining what's trustworthy and what isn't, which are always up for debate. So there are a lot of thorny issues involved, and some of those things make it difficult to kind of scale or automate any type of intervention you would have. So I think it's inherently challenging. That said, sometimes one would wish that combating misinformation would be a higher priority than it is, but it certainly is a much higher priority than it was 2 years ago. Basically, I would say if you're about to share something, stop and think for 1 second and ask yourself if it's too good to be true.